I'm very happy for you.
Jay Thomas Show. Good afternoon. How y'all doing? Hi, 494.
Well, hello there, Jay.
As always, a bunch of topics to toss up, and we hope to get to at least two of them. It's Monday. You know what that means. And time to crack open a port.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I cannot believe these businesses trying to get employees through the door is nearly impossible. And I see North Dakota now is going to, kind of, sort of, unemployment job service going to try to sort of kind of crack down on what's going on with people not showing up for jobs. And, because you got to, in North Dakota, Minnesota, I think you're the same. If you're on unemployment, you got to, I think, reach out or go get 3 interviews or whatever. And we've had her on before. She's going to be on at the 3 o'clock hour. Trish Lake, great gal, she owns TLC Cleaning. She has 20 positions open, and she just cannot get people. They'll show up, they'll do the interview, fill out the application, and then they don't show up for the job. And she pays really good and has great benefits for her employees.
Well, I was going to say, last time we talked to her, it wasn't not only the pay and the benefits, but you have an opportunity for advancement.
Yep.
You could be a trainer or lead your own crew.
Yep.
They pay for you to go through leadership training.
Big bonuses, too.
Yeah. I mean,
she's offered. I see right here, too, now, Rob, Marvin Windows hiring starting at $18.50 plus an hour, plus great benefits.
Yeah.
And I know a lot. I've got friends that own businesses. Some got small businesses. Some have big, multi-million-dollar businesses. And it doesn't matter what walk of business life you're in. They are having a heck of a time trying to get people to come and work.
Well, that's always been the problem when we resort to the sort of extraordinary, sort of stimulus efforts that we have in response to something like the pandemic. Listen, most people want to work. Most people want to be gainfully employed. I think we start to see this problem most acutely in a place like North Dakota because we, even in the best of times, we don't have a lot of spare labor force to go around to begin with.
No.
And then you go basically, I've always believed if you don't have a job in North Dakota, it's because you don't want to work.
I'm with you. See the
or you're choosing not to for some reason.
You see the panhandlers. I don't know if you have in mind. We have them here in Fargo, panhandlers, and a majority of them either it's I'm a vet or please help. Do not have a job. Can't find a job. Really, you can't find a job? Give me a break.
Yeah. So I think there's some of that going around where it's just we don't have a lot of extra workforce to begin with. An unfortunate reality of North Dakota is a lot of times our politicians like to brag about our low unemployment rates all the time. The truth is, when people lose their jobs in North Dakota, they move away. Yeah. It sucks. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't true, but it is. We saw it during the oil boom when oil collapsed, and really the unemployment rates didn't. They went up some, but we never saw that big spike like maybe we should have, and that's because the people just went to other states and they went other places. Then they weren't counted as unemployed in North Dakota, and that probably happened during the pandemic. If you lost your job here, you probably went somewhere else, although it's a little bit different because obviously with the restrictions, travel and that was harder. But listen, we've put in place, we've had and had to a certain degree restrictions on the ability of landlords to evict.
Yeah.
We still have that through the CDC at the national level. For a time here, North Dakota State Supreme Court wasn't even hearing those cases. We've sent out an extraordinary amount of stimulus money. We've extended unemployment benefits. We've done all of these things that, from one perspective, are good things, right? We want a safety net. We were in an extraordinary moment. We provided some safety net. But then on the other side of that, it's like, okay, well, now we need to start giving people impetus to get back to work.
What was it? 16,000, I think, is the number I saw. 16,000 job openings here in in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Here's something we have coming
Oh,
our
I thought
way
it
here.
was double that.
No, it's 16,000.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Here's what we have coming our way, at least in the eastern part of the state, especially here in Fargo. We've got a couple things. These businesses are already having a hard time trying to get in place, especially if you're in the hospitality food service industry. I can't. There are a lot of fast food joints here where the dining rooms are not open because they just cannot find the staff. And even the drive-through windows are closing early. But we have Amazon opening up here. I think it's the end of summer for early fall. That's going to be 500 plus jobs, and starting pay. The lowest paying job is $15 an hour. Then you also have the diversion that they're going to start ramping up on, and those are going to be big paying construction jobs. So now that's going to fuel into the already tough market that employers have now trying to find people, Rob.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's going to be hard to find people to get to work, and that has implications all up and down the line. If people aren't getting back to work, that means that there's going to be continued reliance on a lot of these extraordinary measures that we've put in place. It's also bad for businesses. It means that because if you're out there and you're advertising for a job and nobody's showing up to take the job, what's your alternative? Like you're gonna have to raise pay. I know there's people out there saying, "Wasn't that a great thing? We're gonna raise pay," but that goes down the line. Another thing that we're not talking about here a lot is inflation, Jay. A lot of the cost, I know you've talked about like the cost of lumber and thus the cost of like construction is going up. I'm hearing lawmakers in Bismarck because they're settling up appropriation bills, and parts of those appropriation bills are construction projects, and they're talking about some of these construction projects, going all of a sudden 20% higher because costs are going higher.
Yeah.
We have the government has dumped literally trillions of dollars into of money it doesn't have. I mean, this is you got to remember this. This is money that the government is just printing, right?
Yeah, they're
just kind of taking money out of nowhere and dumping it into the market. Well, what does that do? Is it drives inflation. So we've gotten all this stimulus and we've done all of these extraordinary things, but we are going to see cost of living increasing as a result. I mean, that's going to be it's a natural side effect of these policies that they've implemented. And one hedge on that is let's get people back to work again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when Trish comes in here, man.
But these are the same people, Rob, that want a $15 an hour minimum wage, so let that sink in.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a real struggle, and that's a difficult thing because
the market will dictate it.
The market should just dictate it. We don't need a minimum wage. North Dakota's at the federal minimum. I think we're just fine with it. If you look at the people who are actually making the minimum wage, they're young people, right? I mean, wages should be a ladder. We always talk about the minimum wage like it's a static thing. When I first went to work, I think the minimum wage was
$2.80. I think for me,
for $4.25, I think it was for me.
Yeah. I want to say it was like $2.80 or $2.85 or something like that.
The first actual job. Well, the first job was well below minimum wage when I was delivering papers 7 days a week for the Minot Daily News. I wasn't making anywhere close to the minimum wage.
And I bet you didn't have to do what I had to do when we delivered papers, and that was we had to go door to door and collect.
Oh, I absolutely had to do it.
And you didn't get paid until you collected from all your customers.
That's right, because your pay was withheld from what you collected. Right?
That's right.
I had to do that too. I was a paper boy from 4th grade to my senior year in high school. And they so anyway, but my first job was detailing cars. My brother-in-law had a car detail shop for a while. And so in the summers I would work for him. And he paid me minimum wage. It was $4.25 an hour.
$4.25.
But the thing is, if he had to pay me $15 an hour, or whatever it would have worked out in dollars back then, would he have hired me?
No.
I at 14 years old, could I have gotten that job?
And when you have to do that, that means your brother's detailing business now has to raise their prices to the customer to cover that, and so on and so on. But if the market, if the market dictates that, okay, well then so be it. But this force by the government, okay, you're going to pay $15 an hour. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. There are a lot of businesses that can afford it. A lot of big companies are stepping ahead and doing it on their own. But there's a lot of places that they can't do it. They can't swing it. And this mentality, people think if you own a business, well, then you're just automatically you're a rich person. They don't realize that's just not the case. A lot of businesses, it is the owner scrambling. I got to make sure I got payroll covered. How am I going to pay for this?
Most businesses, the owner gets paid last.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, there's nothing wrong with being a successful business.
No,
people.
more
A lot
power
of
to
people
you.
out there make a nice living, but also, that's one of the things that frustrates me when people talk about the capitalist system, and it doesn't. You tell me how anybody can go out there, short of like winning the lottery or something, how you can go out there and make yourself a millionaire without creating a lot of jobs and opportunity for other people along the way. You can't even. You could be the greediest, most miserly SOB in the world, and you still can't run a business without creating some jobs for other people.
Unless you're the inventor of the pet rock back in the 70s. That really
Pet
did.
rock.
Hey, man.
I bet you the
By
pet
way,
rock.
from North Dakota.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I thought about it. I bet you even the pet rock stimulated the economy.
You had to stimulate a little bit. Of course, that guy was from North Dakota that invented the pet rock.
Now, listen. Obviously, there's bad employers out there, and there's employers who don't treat
Of course
their
there
employees
are.
right and everything. But for the most part, this stuff works. Let pay be a product of if you like to pay for a job, it's a ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you start making minimum wage, you're probably not going to be making minimum wage your whole life because you're going to gain experience.
Work
You're
your
hopefully
way
going to get
up.
an education. You're going to work your way up, and then you're going to make more over time.
That's right. Exactly. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, I don't know if you've been watching it or not. I've been watching the closing arguments today. I got to tell you.
I haven't had time.
Oh,
man.
I got to tell you, man. Not if I'm on that defense. I watched both the prosecution, and I thought, boy, the defense side, they went real quick during the trial. I mean, now they're just like, but you're watching the defense today give their closing arguments. Boy, I'll tell you what, that attorney's doing a hell of a job, man. This is going to be interesting. We can hit on that when we come back. 293-9000, toll free 1-888-970-9329. Email talk at WDAY.com. Jay Thomas Show. We do it every Monday. Rob Port's anythingblog.com. Play Talk Podcast, which you can watch, by the way, now. And columnist for Forum Communications. I like to call it the North Dakota, and we'll throw Minnesota weekly update in there. More with Rob. We come back. Jay Thomas Show. What happened there?
Guess I got to check that one out.
Real news for real peeps.
Yo, man.
Yeah, baby. 222.
Have you seen her? So bad and pretty, moving with a style and ease. And I feel her from across the room. Yes, it's love in the third degree. Ooh, baby, baby.
All right, 222 email. They come in through our Tyler's Tree Service inbox. If you need tree, I got to call Tyler. As a matter of fact, I see what's left of my apple tree. See how big split it on the main trunk. So I don't know if there's anything to be done or if this tree's got to go bye now.
Was it like the Robert Redford, the natural scene where the lightning bolt hits the tree and it explodes? And
This tree just looks like one of those. I don't even know what you can compare it to. Just, you know, when you wake up, you got long hair. You wake up, you got morning hair. You just look all raggedy. Pretty much what my apple tree's got permanent morning hair, man.
When was the last time you had morning hair, Jay?
Oh, God.
When's the last time you had hair to have morning hair?
No. Listen there, Mr. Port. In the wintertime, this is the second year I did it, and it drives Alex nuts. And then I was growing out my winter hockey hair. So,
What?
So it was, I do it in the wintertime because I just don't like being shaved down.
This is why you work in an audio medium.
Well, I wear hats all the time, but she's like, I said, I am so done with your hockey hair.
Yeah.
We're shaving this off. So I had a little morning.
Oh, God. When I got out of the hospital with COVID, because I hadn't had a haircut, and then I got stuck in the hospital forever, and for a while, like my beard had grown, and one day the guy came in and he goes, "You look like the sickest Viking I have ever seen in my life."
Anyways, email comes in, talk at WDAY.com, says, dang you, Jay. I typically don't like Rob and usually disagree with him, but dang if I didn't agree with him in that last segment. Now I don't know what to think. Well, there you go, man.
I don't understand why you think you got to agree with people all the time. Listen, I'm going to say some things you don't like, and I'm going to say some things you do like. I hope you think about all of them, and we can have a discussion.
You know how many listeners I think I've lost over the last year because of my stance on masks? And I don't care. I have my take on it, and it is what it is. I'm not going to say one thing just because I don't want to offend somebody, or I got to make sure I appease everybody. I don't give a damn,
that's
man.
the last thing. When we already have social media, narrowing down what we're seeing and everything. When we have Google doing it, when we have cable news just kind of feeding us a steady diet of what we want to hear, the last thing you should be doing is stop listening to somebody because you don't like a particular argument that they're making.
Speaking of don't like an argument somebody's making of masks and COVID and vaccines, and I see now our local our state around the state news outlets are now saying that we are at 50%? No, 500 vaccines have been handed out here in North Dakota. A lot of folks, of course, just have their first, haven't got through for their second. We'll get to that in a second.
You mean 50,000?
No, it says 500,000 vaccines.
500,000
have been administered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said 500.
Now, I am not a fan of this guy, and I was shocked. Well, maybe that's just being a little dramatic, but I was really surprised. Wow, HBO's real-time host Bill Maher. Whew, good for him, man. He called out the media, health officials, and the government in his closing monologue Friday, accusing them of taking a scared straight approach to informing Americans about COVID-19 instead of simply giving it to me straight, citing a Dartmouth University study showing that major media networks in the U.S. reported nearly 90% bad news. Maher said that as a result of the spin from the media, politicians, and health officials, many Americans have been drastically misinformed about the pandemic and the risks associated with it. What are the chances that someone who gets COVID will need to be hospitalized? ? The answer is between 1 and 5%. 41% of Democrats thought it was over 50%. Another 28% put the chances at 29 to 49%. Also, Republicans, one-third of Republicans in a recent poll didn't know that people could spread COVID while asymptomatic. See, both sides, and both sides don't know. They don't know the facts because they're doing the hit-and-run headlines. The highest share of current school closures, by the way, Mark points out, are in blue states. You have the CDC that says you don't need to do this. You have the CDC basically. Is the CDC not saying, hey, if you got both your vaccines, you don't have to do all this. You don't have to mask up. You don't, as long as you're around other people that are vaccinated. You have Dr. Fauci, who is just Mr. Fearmonger. This guy's got a real God complex. He does. This now him and the CDC don't agree on anything.
I think a lot of these public health officials have that problem.
I do too. Also, Maher pointed out that COVID-19 infection rates in Texas, which has a Republican governor, have declined since the state lifted its pandemic restrictions. But to many liberals, this is Maher's words, that can't be right because Texas and beach-loving Florida have Republican governors.
When Texas raised it, what did Joe Biden say? He said it was a Neanderthal thinking.
Yeah,
or something?
Neanderthal. That's just basically a death sentence. Kudos to Bill Maher. Yeah. He said, those are just facts. I know it's irresponsible of me to say them. Look, here's what I'm saying. I don't want politics mixed in with my medical decisions. Good for him. Yeah. And he went on for a lot longer, but he's had it too. Enough's enough. And I think America has. When we were out this weekend, and Alex and I, we go out each week, go grab buddy. We were out. We did the gun show this weekend. We did the car show this weekend. We went out, got breakfast, and I'm going to tell you right now that every place we went was jam-packed with people, and there was very minimal mask use. And I'm telling you right now, I don't believe a lot of those. I don't know how many people were vaccinated, but I don't think that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. People they've had it. They're hearing this from one side, this from another, this information from Fauci, this information from the CDC. We've had it. We're moving on with our lives. We are always going to have COVID. I also noticed, Rob, more and more businesses have pulled down, even though the mask mandate went away here in Fargo and in the state. A lot of businesses kept their mask signs up. I'm seeing more and more businesses are pulling their signs down.
Yeah, I've still been wearing my mask around, but increasingly, it's people aren't, and I don't know. In fact, I have a column up this afternoon making that very argument. We need to talk about the fact that North Dakota number, we started to see a little bit of a bump going back up this spring. Those have leveled off. Our hospitalizations have leveled off, and they were increasing again a little bit, but they're way down low. I mean, we're living right now without a mask mandate in North Dakota. We're doing just fine. I think we need to recognize that. We need to recognize that we live in a country where about half of the vaccines available to all adults now. Mm-hmm. About half of them have had at least one shot. Now at this point, that's about the same. I think it's a little less than half here in North Dakota, but that's about the point where we're at. We need to focus on some of the things. I think we still need to encourage people to get the vaccination. Talk to your doctor. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Bill Maher. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to your cousin on Facebook. Yeah. Just talk to your doctor.
That's what I said last week when we were talking about the vaccines. I'm like, look, I think that is a personal choice, and I'm sick and tired of whether it's a talking head on TV, on the radio, it's a politician, it's some celebrity telling us we have to do this, you got to do this to be responsible. You know what? That is a conversation between you and your doctor. That is your decision. Yep. And I think the government, all right, and the government's the one pushing this, going out there and hiring celebrities and getting in your face and saying, look, I did it, do a selfie. All you're doing is pushing people away. The more you push this, the more people are going, the government wants this, I want nothing to do with it.
That was one, I think you remember last year, Jay, that was one of the arguments I was making about the mask stuff. I believe, and not to reignite that debate, but obviously I was pro-mask. Mm-hmm. But my argument was the harder you push people, the more they're going to push back.
That's right.
And,
exactly.
The people who want to wear masks will wear masks. If you want to persuade people, you got to try something differently. But anyway, the point of my column this afternoon was, we're at a point we need to start talking about the positive stuff. We are beating COVID. And that needs to be out there. But I think the news media is addicted to the negativity because it's lots of clicks. I think the politicians I think the politicians are addicted to it because and the public health officials because they accumulated to themselves a lot of power. That if the crisis goes away, the power goes away, and the impetus for some of these policies they're pushing goes away. They're trying to keep it in place.
How many people in this country are not elected in office by we the people have the power to shut things down? And that is so wrong. This Dr. Fauci and the CDC and all this, it is ridiculous.
Well, just one point about that, though. They should have the power to, in an emergency situation, right? They should have. What I don't like is that by abusing it, So by abusing it, they undermine their ability. They're going to have a lot of that power taken away, and that's not right either. Because in a truly emergent situation, they should have some of these powers.
But after this, if there ever is a true emergency situation, the public ain't going to buy into it because of the way this was handled. Jerry and Moorhead, Jay Thomas Show.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, they give out the numbers of new cases, but what's the rate of hospitalization amongst that? I mean,
it's about one in.
And then it's like.
So right now we have. I actually ran that math. It's about 1 in 28 right now. So we have 1,004 as of this morning. We have 1,004 active cases in North Dakota. I don't know what Minnesota's numbers are. In North Dakota, we had 1,004, and then 35 people hospitalized. So that works out to just about 29 active cases per hospitalization.
Here's Minnesota right now. Total hospitalization of Minnesota just over 29,016 people hospitalized. Deaths newly reported is 6 right now. New cases 1,292.
What's active cases?
Active cases. Let's see. New cases, total cases, total hospitalizations, total deaths. They don't have that.
No, that's
current
weird.
Active cases.
Yeah,
hold on here. Let's see. No longer. I'm not.
And another thing is with the rate of hospitalizations. I mean, Rob, I'm glad you got better, and congratulations on teaching your son how to armpit fart. But.
Yeah. Somebody's my Facebook friend. I did. Cooper and I impressed the hell out of his mom with that over the weekend.
Here we go, right here. You said
you can tell he wasn't teaching them in Sunday school.
Did you say new cases, Rob?
Active cases.
Okay. Yep. I can't find. Okay.
Yeah. North Dakota reports active cases.
Okay.
It's the number. That's actually the number I want. How many people in a current moment still have it? Does
We're
that
always
number
going
go
to
up,
have it.
down?
We're always going to live with this. This is not going to go away. And here's what else doesn't help. I'll let you finish, Jeremy. Here's what else doesn't help. When, we get to this, we can get out of their lives. Then all of a sudden it moves. Then all of a sudden it moves. And I understand things change. But this has just been ridiculous. It's been stretched out for every year. But now you have, you get this vaccine. We're going to be good to go as a society. We just got to get to this percentage for herd immunity. And now we hear, what did we hear last week? Moderna comes out and says, what was it, Moderna or Pfizer? One of the two. Probably going to need a third shot.
Yeah,
here.
that was Pfizer.
Was it
CEO
Pfizer?
of Pfizer said within 12 months you need a third.
And then we're probably going to have to do a yearly booster. But and the point is, that too sticks in people's minds. They're going, wait, because the first thing they're thinking is, okay, they got us into this. This is the pharmaceutical companies knew all along. They're just in this to make money. That's what's in people's heads.
But you can't. But you can't say that about everything. This was a brand new situation. They're doing this science as they go. So I mean, to me, that's different than say Fauci constantly moving the goalposts. That's a different thing than these pharmaceutical companies saying, hey, as we're learning more about this situation, you may need booster shots down the line.
And I'm going to say a lot of people, that's not how they look at it.
Okay,
though.
a lot of people think the world is flat too. I don't know
exactly.
Not every opinion people have is a valid one.
You know though how people feel about pharmaceutical companies. Just that whole thing. If they would have came out in the beginning and said, "Look, here's the deal. It's going to be a 2-part shot." But you know what? There's a good chance it could be a third. There could be an annual.
I remember reading those reports. I remember reading those reports.
You didn't hear it on the news anywhere.
Okay.
You read a report. And if they would have just came out like that, I think
they
that
did.
would
I think
have made
they
a
did.
difference.
Did the news media focus on it, or did
I
it just
don't remember
fly
the news media focusing on it.
I think we got to stop every time there's a new. We start. The pharmaceutical people are going to just calm down. Talk to your doctor about it. You may need a booster shot.
I agree.
It's not that big of a deal. And
talk to your doctor. But that's not what people do. They talk to their friends on social media.
I was talking to somebody over the weekend, and they're like, well, did you see this new NIH study that came out that says masks don't work? And I went and read it, and it does. It does, undermine a lot of the efficacy of masks. Here's the thing, though. When mask policy was first being put in place, we didn't know it. We knew almost nothing about this. We knew it was an airborne virus. We didn't have time to do tests in the moment. And then people are treating masks like they're being asked to be forced off, marched off to a concentration camp. The reaction was ridiculous. All I'm saying is we're looking at some of this stuff with 2020 high.
Ridiculous because we knew the masks were ridiculous. But we're not getting into that debate.
Let's just be careful about looking back on some of this stuff with 2020 hindsight. That's
Jerry, go ahead and finish up on it.
Yeah, I was going to say another thing, too, is with Chauvin, I think the city is going to be screwed either way.
Yep.
If he's found guilty, the city will burn in celebration. If he's found not guilty, the city will burn in protest. So
it will burn. It won't burn in celebration. It'll burn in. That's not enough. Now, there's 2 counts where the maximum is 20, the minimum is 12 and a half. Those are the 2 murder ones. The manslaughter, whatever the manslaughter, that's a 4.5 minimum. I think a 12 maximum. I'm telling you guys, watching these closing arguments, the defense is bringing up some points that would definitely, if I'm sitting on that jury going, put some reasonable doubt in my mind.
I was just reading
Thanks,
senior.
Jeff.
I was just seeing Laura Coates. She's a senior legal analyst for CNN. She was just on Twitter writing, defense begins closing by defining reasonable doubt, not why Derek Chauvin is innocent. Think about that. Let's think about it. Reasonable doubt is what the entire criminal justice system is built on. Senior legal analyst Laura Coates doesn't understand what reasonable doubt means to the criminal defense.
Hey, John in West Fargo, hang on. You'll be first on the phone so we come back. Don't lose your spot, Rob. You got time to hang?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, hold on, man. More with Rob before we come back. Jay Thomas Show. All right, what do we got? 2:43. Jay Thomas Show on a Monday. Rob Ports, our weekly chat. Let's see. Holy, wow, do we got emails?
Breaking news.
What?
Just in.
Yes.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi asked in a press conference minutes ago if she thinks Maxine Waters should apologize for her comments. She said, I don't think she should.
Are you
You're
kidding?
surprised
Nancy
by that?
Pelosi is now the worst person in the world.
Well,
Circa Keith Olbermann.
okay.
Keith Olbermann.
All right. That's terrible. I had a column about that this morning, and it's I'll tell you that's frustrating. If Donald Trump can be held responsible for
Exactly.
inciting the riot of the Capitol, and by the way, I know you and I disagree on this. I think
Yes,
he
we
can
do.
be, but if that's the standard, and for a lot of people it is, then apply it to Maxine Waters too.
Down there, she is doing the same thing that they accused President Trump of doing. And she's down there stirring the crowd, stirring the pot, trying to get people to cause even more chaos in the cities. Yeah, you're right. She should be held accountable. John, West Fargo, Jay Thomas Show.
Hey, yeah. So, have you guys seen the clip with Senator Jim Jordan against?
Yes, we were going to play
Hockey?
it. We were going to play it last week, and I forgot to play it. Yes.
Yeah, and it's like Jim came out very simple questions to him, and it seems like it was a difficulty for Hockey. And it seems like it's that way with the left side.
Did you, Rob? Hold on. Let me ask, Rob. Did you see that clip between? Was that Representative or Senator?
Representative Jim Jordan.
Jordan and Dr. Fauci. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
Hold on, let's play it real quick. It's here. Let's play. This is a part of the exchange. I'm not playing the whole thing, so the whole clip's like 6 minutes. But let's play this for Rob, John. I was going to play it last Friday, then it's like
okay.
Blake. Here it is. He's Ronnie's trying to find it right there. It's great though. You're right. He held him to the fire. And Fauci. Here we go. All right, go ahead. That's the what? Ronnie, what are you?
What measure, what standard, what objective outcome do we have to reach before Americans get their liberty and freedoms back?
You're indicating liberty and freedom. I look at it as a public health measure to prevent people from dying and going to the hospital.
You don't think Americans' liberties have been threatened the last year, Dr. Fauci? They've been assaulted. Their liberties have.
I don't look at this as a liberty thing, Congressman Jordan.
Well, that's
I look at
obvious.
this as a public health thing.
But
I disagree with you on that.
You think the Constitution is suspended during a virus, during a pandemic? It's certainly not.
This will end for sure when we get the level of infection very low. It is now at such a high level. There's a threat again of major surge.
Fauci.
You're making this a personal thing, and it isn't.
It's not a personal thing.
No, you are. That is exactly what you're doing.
No, your recommendations carry a lot of weight, Dr. Fauci. We just had the chair of the Financial Services Committee said she loves you and you're the greatest thing in the world. Tell me the number.
When 90% of the members of Congress get vaccinated.
But you're not a doctor, Mr. Clyburn. He is. What is the number?
I can't
Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Clyburn. Thank you.
Chair
for
now
giving me the
recognizes
time.
for 5
I'd
minutes.
like my question
Ms.
answered.
Maloney.
I don't want.
Reclaiming my
I
time.
want to-
Reclaiming
I
my
want to-
time. Regular order.
No,
Just a moment.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want you to answer my question. The American people want Dr. Fauci to answer the
Well-
question. What does it have to be?
sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Good
Speaking of
Lord.
Maxine Waters,
Yeah,
that's her.
there's Maxine.
Yeah, that's her right there. Hey,
But
let
you
me-
heard-
this
but you
is
heard what do you say? The other gentleman there, it was a Clyburn. Was that what?
Yeah,
When
Jim Clyburn.
90% of Congress is vaccinated, that's what he's talking about. Well, really, so if 90% of Congress is vaccinated, then this can all go away, according to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
which makes absolutely no sense.
Exactly.
This is the problem, and I was talking about this back before last year when we were talking about the mask mandates. And everybody, and remember we went through all those state health officials and everything, and then we had all the health officials writing letters to the editor of the newspaper and everything. This is the problem, because people are saying, well, take this decision out of Governor Burgum's hands, right? This is the problem, though, is when you leave it up to just the technical experts, the only thing that they're going to consider are the considerations within their area of technical expertise. Now, there's a lot of ways in which we can limit the liberties and freedoms of Americans and be a lot safer, but we don't do it. We could ban hamburgers and probably reduce heart disease by a great deal. We could make everybody has to work from home and nobody commutes to work. We could probably make our roads a heck of a lot safer. The problem is nobody wants to live that way, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's why it is so dangerous to elevate somebody like Dr. Fauci, who I don't dispute has a lot of technical expertise, but is not equipped to consider the full spectrum of ramifications of public policy.
Well, that's if you go to your doctor, and I think Steve Hallstrom was saying this last week on I need to do more. He said, look, of course your doctor's going to tell you. It's like your doctor's going to tell you, hey, John, don't be eating hamburgers every day. Don't be smoking. Don't be drinking beer. Of course your doctor's going to tell you that. And you're right, Ron. That's the problem. That's what they're focused on, but they're not focused on all the ramifications. John,
focus on that hamburgers taste good.
They're delicious.
Because you got to be careful with this, guys, because Canada right now, they close their borders completely. No one can get in or out. Now, I don't know if you know what Canada's done now with their laws because of this virus. That I did see a clipping on YouTube, and it did, and this individual did indicate that what's going on in Canada is that if you're out in the public and you sneeze, on all their cell phones, there's a number to call. The health department. And then what happens was they come out there and they'll talk to you. And if you're not vaccinated, okay, they'll take you away. And you'll stay there until you're cleared.
Well, you have
That's
now.
how serious Canada is.
Well, you have even some places here in this country. You have St. Joseph's College in Standish, Maine. They've issued more than $20, $50 tickets to students who violated the school's masking policy. You have Rutgers University in Jersey. They have announced mandatory vaccinations. Cornell is doing mandatory vaccinations. Notre Dame is doing all students and undergraduates. They all have to be vaccinated if they want to be on campus. You have, is it Oregon or Washington? I can't remember which state it was. The story just came out before I got on it. People are living there because the officials there are they're tightening things. They're closing things back up again. There are always going to be ebb and flows with this for the rest of our lives, and this is not the answer to start shutting everything down. John, appreciate the phone call.
It frustrates me because, again, I think you should get vaccinated. Now, again, talk to your doctor.
Yep.
Don't take my advice because I'm just a silly columnist. Talk to your doctor who has actual medical training and, more importantly, knows your specific health situation. Talk to them about it. But they're almost certainly going to tell you to get vaccinated, and you probably should get vaccinated. But what I don't like is if we get so militant, people are going to dig in.
And the more the government gets militant on it, the more people are going to dig in.
We got to persuade people. This is a thing you should do. It protects you. It protects your community. You should do it. But talk to your doctor about it.
Let's see some emails. So we got to take a quick break here from our Tyler's Tree Service inbox, talkwday.com. Hey, Jay, they keep moving the goalposts because they don't want COVID to end. Too much money to be made. Another one, Jay, the CDC got hundreds and hundreds of millions in pandemic money just for the PR campaign. Guess who is now getting that money? Yep, media corporations who all have news departments. So you follow the money trails, and those trails lead to those getting free money from the government. P.S. Fauci equals fraudsy. Okay. That's actually a good point. There is millions, hundreds of millions of dollars being pumped in to media, and we're one of them. We're not getting hundreds of millions. We're getting really squat, but they're getting a ton of money to run these ads. They're not running these for free. And when this stops, that ad money goes away.
Just kind of like a political season, if you will. Something like that.
Kind of like that. Yeah, here's another one. The virus guys, I do not trust the government at all. I don't trust the vaccine, and one of the biggest reasons is because of the underlying issues, which is a word they made up. The medical term is I don't know. That's been proven all over with relatives that have died that were on the last part of their life, and they had attributed it to the virus. Get the numbers up there on the virus statistics. You cause more fear. One more here.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
One more. Jay, remember, Fauci first said masks were not necessary. He changed his mind more than a model changes outfits at a fashion show. All right, go ahead.
Probably the best meme I saw this weekend was a T-shirt with a meme of Fauci on it, wearing a Che Guevara beret that said Faucism.
Oh, yeah, you sent me a picture of that. Yeah. Another one, my problem, guys, is with the booster, is they keep telling us they don't know how long this will last. How do they know we need a booster then? I got my second. They can kiss my butt
They
now.
don't know. They're saying it might be necessary.
Nobody is saying it. They're going to push it. Wow, they're saying might, but you know what?
Let's just calm down about some of that a little bit. I will say some of the...
I can't, Rob.
I disagree with that entirely. I think that is entirely unfair. For by the way, a vaccine program that President Trump and as somebody who does not like Donald Trump, I give him a ton of credit for developing this under his watch. I don't understand why we're all suddenly so distrustful of this.
I told you why.
Why?
I mean, because we have dealt with this for over a year now, and the goalpost is constantly being moved. Now, you can sit and say science changes. We're learning more and more every day. And you're right. You're right. But, Rob, most Americans are just fed up with the government.
Okay, the facts don't care about their feelings.
But you can't. But
I don't care I don't care if they feel like they're being lied to all the time. The facts are the facts.
But we don't know what the facts are. That's the problem.
Lord.
You don't.
All right.
You don't know.
The problem is, I agree with you on so much of this, right? Because I think it's true, like the moving the goalpost stuff, and what I also agree that there's a principle. You've heard of the Peter Principle, right? Where people get promoted to the level of their incompetency. There's a derivative. There's a derivative of that, which essentially holds that organizations that were founded to solve a problem stop wanting to try to solve the problem because the benefits of them trying to solve the problem go away. Right? They don't want to solve the problem. So I think what one of your listeners was just talking about, where they don't want the pandemic to really go away, because let's face it, this has been lucrative for a lot of people who work in very specific occupations. So I get that, and I'm with you, and I think they are moving the goalposts, but I think we got to be careful not to let frustration with that expand into other areres. Where maybe those sorts of feelings aren't justified.
And in the real world, that's the way it should be. But in the world that we live in, that's just that is not the case. Prime example: we were out and about again this weekend. There wasn't social distancing. There's very little mask use. People have they've had it. All right, Rob, hang on. We'll wrap things up. We come back. Jay Thomas Show. All right, 2:58. All right, before we wrap things up here, Rob, Yvette in Wahpeton, you're up, Jay Thomas Show.
Hi, you got my name right. I'm proud of you.
Yes, I did. All right, what's up?
Okay, I just gotta. I need to make a point here. I'm with you, Jay, all the way on this vaccine and the masks and all that. But I got to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a little story. I think we should all be more afraid of the damn vaccine.
Really?
Than COVID. The reason, and I'm going to share this with you, and I hope everybody's listening to this. My best friend is 1 year older than me, which is 66. I just turned 65. And she had the Moderna vaccine. Mm-hmm. Okay. 3 months after she got the vaccine, she came down with an autoimmune disease. She's been healthy. She never smoked, never drank, nothing her whole life. She passed away. Her lungs shut down and her kidneys shut down.
Oof.
And this was after she had the Moderna vaccine. Okay? Now, you don't hear about these people that are dying of these vaccines. And I asked her husband, I said, did you guys get vaccinated? And he said, yeah. And I said, can I ask you what vaccination you got? And he told me. Mm-hmm. So do I trust the vaccine? No. And the guy said, well, you should talk to your doctor. The doctors will tell you to get the vaccine. No, they won't. My PA, who is wonderful and very smart, I said, can I ask you a question? Are you going to get the vaccine? And she said, absolutely not.
Wow. Yvette, I hate to cut you up, but I got to rock and roll. I'm out of time. Rob, it's always a pleasure. What's coming up on the next Plain Talk?
First of all, please talk to your doctor about the vaccine, and don't listen to anybody on talk radio.
Don't talk to social media. Don't take advice from talk radio, and I don't give advice on this
Rick
stuff.
Guion from North Dakota Voters First was just on this morning on Plain Talk. Later this week, going to have Jonah Lanza on. You're going to start being on Plain Talk on a regular basis. So that'll be a lot of fun. So Plain Talk Live, follow my social media feeds. You'll get all the info there.
Rob and I have a blast going back and forth. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
All right, hey, win Jay Thomas's money. You want $100? Here's the words you need for tomorrow for the coffee club. Pretty easy one today. Troglodyte. Dite. Troglodyte.
I like that word. Troglodyte.
Really?
I have some people in mind that it applies
That's
to.
The words you need tomorrow. Be listening with Bougie and Janae. Troglodyte. Dite. That's the word for tomorrow. Troglodyte. All right. We come back. Trisha Lake owns TLC Cleaning. Boy, is she having a hard time getting employees. Holy smokes. Talk to her next. Jay Thomas Show.